afternoon. You are listening to Healthy Lifestyle. I am Lori Anne Casdia. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, and empower you to fulfill a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. I'm excited about today, although I think I am every day. What do you think, Michael? All the time?
Yeah, I'd say that.
I love life. Life is great. But today we have a friend of mine on who is just along an alignment of thought process, and we're just going to talk about thinking bigger today. So his name is Thomas Roman. He is the founder and CEO of Roman Media Group. He has a passion for learning new things and creating cool stuff, which he really does. He creates a lot of cool stuff. Tom loves spending time with his wife, daughter, family, and friends. He enjoys his work, listening to audiobooks, motivational videos, technology, cars, music, boating, fun days in the sun, writing, watching movies, working out, and appreciating life. He is grateful to God, his family, friends, clients, and teachers for all they have taught and done for him throughout his life. He truly tries to keep it fun in all facets of life. And I just think that is such the perfect statement about him, because he does keep things all fun and exciting. Whenever we work together, it's always a joy to work with him. So welcome to the show, Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, it's so much fun. So much fun. So we're in alignment on so many different things. So I do the kind of the front of the house of a website, and you do the back ends of websites, and you do front ends of websites as well. But the other thing we're connected within is we're both visionaries with practicing law of attraction, right?
Absolutely.
And it's so rewarding, don't you think?
Absolutely, and it's funny because as you were saying all that stuff, there was a feeling I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now.
Absolutely,
with you on this great interview. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. So why do we have to think bigger? How do we do that? Let's jump into it. Let's jump right into the conversation.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and it's a pleasure being here. And first, I want to thank you, and I want to also acknowledge you for having a radio show. I think your voice and just your enthusiasm is so contagious and so just awesome, and I really mean that. And I want to just I admire you for having a radio show, for putting yourself out there and doing this. It's really, really phenomenal. So
thank you for saying that. That's very sweet. But it was an opportunity that was given to me by John Caracciolo, who is the owner of the JVC Broadcasting, and I'm blessed to be here and have the opportunity to have discussions and conversations and get wonderful people like yourself out there so that the message can go out and people can really get a taste of different modalities and different things that are out there that we are not exposed to if you go through your typical day. And that's really what I'm here to do, is to lift other people up and send it out there and hopefully lift the people, our listeners, up to try new things and reach out and just expand. That's my word of the year, is expansion.
I love it. It's so great. Excellent.
So why think bigger?
Right. Well, I loved the fact that you said law of attraction practitioner, and I think if once people understand that the law of attraction, it's so simple, when you think about it, and it's said many different ways throughout history. Obviously, it's in the Bible, it's in philosophers, throughout history, it's just been all over the place. So, but the simplest way I ever heard it was by Joe Vitale, and it was one of his books, and he said that the law of attraction, simply put, is that what you focus on, you attract. And it really is a personal relationship, right? So it's saying what you focus on, you attract. It's not as attracted to you, it's you attracted. So the concept is many people don't have a constructive
vision
on which they're focused, right? And I think the process of how it works, and I've just been very blessed to my parents didn't entitle me. I worked for what I had. I'm very lucky about that. And I was able to go to a good school, and thank God. I really thank my teachers, professors, all the people I always had in my life that were very encouraging. And then I had the great opportunity to live in America and to start my own business, right? And from there, just kind of really worked for a long time on my business. And now I'm at a certain kind of level where we have a great business and great customers, great cash flow, and just a really awesome life. And what I notice is that the vision in your mind, I wrote a book about this, it's called The Vision, it's on Amazon, and it's the idea, though, the thoughts you think are up to you. And what I love is the idea of a lot of people maybe just don't get the process, but the goals you set are really not really goals that you're sitting down saying, hey, this is what I want to do. You might be inspired to have certain goals, but when you hold this big vision and the size of that vision, what someone else in history has done already, anyone is capable of doing. And anyone telling you differently or discouraging you from that kind of frame of mind does not have your best interest in mind and frankly shouldn't be in your life, right? So, but anyone who's ever done any material thing that anyone ever had, any quality of relationship anyone ever had,
sure,
any social cause anyone has ever done, anything, any spiritual movement someone has created, anyone could do it. And the thing is, but to think bigger is to think as big as your brain will go. And the way I conclude a lot of my presentations, what we do first, we get the vision of what the life is that someone wants, and then we teach them to listen to inspiration and to record those inspirations on voice notes, on whatever your phone is, right? To record them, and then the first thing in the morning, the most important thing in the morning, is to process those voice notes, and then put them into the appropriate category to work on daily, because it's through that inspiration. And if you don't record them and you stop recording them, the flow will shut down. But if you record them and act on them, the floodgates of universal mind will open up into you, and all you do is create.
Yes, and the important thing is acting on them. It doesn't, you just don't put it out there and go, okay, it's going to magically deliver. You actually have to act on them. But anything is possible. My father told me that. My father was a great Mena Labancha fan, The Impossible Dream, that anything is possible. And the universe will show you and confirm that what you're doing and that you're on the right track in so many different ways. It's amazing, but you have to pay attention. But it'll give you these subtle confirmations from the songs on the radio that you hear while you're driving to work, or if you're asking the universe a question, it will answer you. It has to. It's the law. It has to respond to you. So yeah, having that vision, thinking bigger, thinking beyond yourself. And you had mentioned having friends and family around you who just try to dissuade you from doing something. A lot of that is their fear of moving outside of the comfort zone. I have a when I do speaking engagements, I have an engagement that we do, a exercise, if you will, of the difference between comfortable and uncomfortable. And if you're comfy and if you're in that like little warm blanket wrapped on the couch, you're not growing. But if you're feeling a little uncomfortable, a little nervous, a little excited, a whole bunch of different feelings coming on, that's good. That's where you want to be. And as a mentor and advisor, I'm constantly gently pushing people out of those comfort zones into the uncomfortable areas, those things that challenge them, getting them up on stage, having them speak in front of other people, just speaking to someone who you don't really have a good rapport with, and trying to get over those hurdles without feeling like it's you, that you really work it through. So all those things put us in a uncomfortable zone, but they're also choices, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So making your brain go as big as it can go and thinking grandiose ideas. That's how people build things like Amazons and Microsoft, and they think way beyond the possibilities, way beyond where we're thinking today. And there are no limitations. And that's like you, bringing people through exercises of put money aside and put limitations aside. If you could have anything that you want, if you could do or be anything you want, what would that be? And then backing into it. It's possible, because all those things that are stopping them are just what I refer to as blocks or gremlins. And we just need to remove those blocks or gremlins, and easily they can flow freely. But like a good river, you could have a log going across the river. It's going to stop or slow or damper that flow, similar to the visions that you have, right? But once we remove that block, that wood, that tree blocking that flow, then the river flows rapidly, right?
Absolutely.
Same thing with our thoughts. If we take away those negative thoughts and think positive thoughts and just keep on our vision, keep on our train track, that is where we're going to find success. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and in addition, what I love is, the concept of like the mind can only think, I think the way that kind of this system works, if you will, like the law of attraction, like the universal mind, whatever you call it, but it works in images and emotion, right? So the idea is that I call it like thought substitution. So when to have that clear vision kind of articulated and to think it with, I like to think about like frequency, duration, vividness, intensity, and gratitude. But to think of it, often, frequency, right? How often can you think it? Vivid, how vividly can you think it? The colors and all that.
Right.
The intensity of it, right? And then gratefully, right? You have the feeling of gratitude as if it's already there, right? But frequency, duration, vividness, intensity, and gratitude. So, but and how long you can think it, the duration of it, right? But the idea is that that's why it's so important with the vision, and it's a vibration you're on, right? And like I think so. One of my like visions, I like to do boating, right? So I have a couple boats that I have, right? I have one in the lake where I live, and then I also have one in New York City, right? And I think of the next boat that I have, the kind I'm going to get next, and it's not even a question, right? But it's a really large vessel, almost like a ship, right? But I think of myself now, and this is the real tweak of where it goes now. I think of myself in that position, and I close my eyes, and I think of myself when I'm in that boat. The vision I'm going to have is that person. You see,
and the feeling that you have being there.
Yeah, exactly.
The feeling is really, really important, that you really have to feel what it would be like to be there. You ever feel excited about something coming up and seeing all the possibilities and that excitement that you feel all the way through to your core, from the tip of your head to the tip of your toes, right?
Yeah. And it's a way of living too. So to think like, hey, what kind of foods am I going to be eating at that point? How are my napkins going to be on the table? How's my silverware going to look like, right? Then in your current life, to live that way, to feel that way, and to believe that that's the case. And this is, I think, the most important thing of it all. Is like I heard recently, I think it might have been in like one of Joe Vitale's books, but the concept is like the planet is a reflection of your inner world. So what you see in your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, and what you see on the mass news stations and all the mass media, social media, all this kind of stuff, they're definitely, without exception, do not have your best interest in mind, right? And if you read a lot of the books about, various books about like the Bilderberger Group, these other things, this great book I read called The True Story of the Bilderberger Group, but it talked about the people in charge, how they really don't have the best interest of the citizens. They want to kind of subjugate people with in a certain ways, right? And when I understood that, I was like, you know what? I'm not giving any of my time. All the news stations are owned by the same group, and their goal is not to have individual prosperity, right? Which is why you see this whole COVID thing happening. Their goal is different than that, right? There's, again, like I think England's still upset that they lost the revolution, right? But the idea is that when you really take control of it, I don't care what station it is. I don't care if it's CNN. I don't care if it's Fox News. I don't care if it's a political party, Republican or Democrat. They're all the same, right?
Yes.
And when you take personal accountability and you say, I'm going to think the thoughts I want, and when you really see, like, my universe, my planet is beautiful. I don't see riots going on. I don't see, all I see is beauty. I see the things I want appearing constantly in my life. And if I want something, I go and create it, right? I go create a new business service. And the idea, how does that business service happen? As I'm doing my individual business, thinking as big as I can, thinking of myself, not just in my vision, not just in that vision, as a person in that vision, but in the person that's living that vision, in their vision, in that vision, the next vision, almost like vision inception, where you're in your visions in the future yourself, thinking as that person, like, and massive kind of ideas, right?
Absolutely. And you mentioned, having that vision and the importance of the types of stimuli people are taking in. So there's really no need watching something that is trying to keep you small and trying to keep you in fear, because fear keeps you small, and that's all done with purpose. There's nothing that hasn't been done with purpose. So if they keep us in fear, then they keep us small. If they keep us small, they keep us in control. And that's not something that's okay. And that's what you're talking about. So like you, I saw this epidemic as something that was actually a gift in a certain way. Not to some of the people, obviously, I don't want to diminish losses that people felt. However, I do want to point out that the universe gave us a lot of gifts. It gave us a lot of gifts of slowing everything down. We were forced to slow down. We weren't doing it on our own. Universe kept saying, we want you to do that. And so it slowed us down. It also helped us recognize what the priorities were. What's important, what's not important. We put family first. I saw a lot more families working together, having game night. Remember that when you were young, growing up? We used to sit around the table table and we'd play board games together. And I saw a lot of families doing that in front of my house, people riding bicycles and jogging together, groups of people, social distancing, yes, but still riding bicycles. I hadn't seen people ride bicycles in front of my house in years, and I see packs of them now. It's beautiful, and I think people just reset. The ones that were paying attention to source or universe or God or however you want to refer to it, those are the people who are coming out of this bigger, stronger, and better. And those are the people that I love surrounding myself with.
Yeah, and you're right, because if you, like you said, the board games, for example, right? It's like the people that were kind of, like you said, tuned in, if you will, right?
Yeah.
The people that took personal accountability, right, for their thinking, and that it only, like, being locked in made their life more beautiful, right? And you're right, a lot of people did suffer. There are certain restaurants and certain types of businesses that really did suffer, and I feel for those people. I really, really do. But even then, like, the people, like, I always saw when I had early business, I'd say stepping stones, I'll call them, right? Where one business didn't work out, I ended up in a lot of debt, and it took me years of working a full-time job and corporate sales, all this stuff to make the work 5 jobs, 6 jobs at one time, right?
Sure.
And that's what it took, because whatever it takes, that's what it takes, right? No, it is what it is.
You got to do whatever it takes, but you just keep going, and you don't let go of your vision and your dreams. Don't let someone take that away from you. I've said that to people, all of my life, is don't allow somebody else to take away and rip away your vision. It's just we need to come at it a different way. It doesn't mean because we aren't successful out of the gates. I don't know anybody successful out of the gates. You have to have a learning curve. So you have to figure out what you're supposed to learn and bring it with you. Probably you got some tools when you were working in sales that help you at that corporation, that help you today in your business right now.
Oh, well, yeah. And that's the whole idea, that, like, the gratitude behind it. It's funny, but my first business, I'd say, startup business, I used to landscape. I had a landscaping company for years into college and graduate school. But then right as soon as I finished school, I started my first, startup. And I, like, a year and a half into it, we were just tapped out, right? And I just sat at my desk, I shed a few tears, and I'm like, God, I don't know why this is happening, but I have faith that it's happening for a reason. And I just, picked myself up. Was I down? Yeah. Was I in debt? Yeah. But this is my message to people who have suffered from COVID is I've been there too. And the idea is you just have to pick yourself up, put one foot in front of the other, do whatever it takes to get through this time, and see this as a blessing. See it as something, and even in suffering, find gratitude. And
Absolutely.
I think that's real mastery.
Absolutely. That's when you know you've mastered it, is when you can find the joy in some tragedy, that there is joy. There is goodness in some things, So you're always reaching for the joy. What inspires you, Thomas?
Well, I think it's like helping, and then I just think like similar track as you, to inspire people. And I think I love seeing people to help them first create their vision, right? And I really mean this. I have presentations where people walk in head down, bad posture, and we walk through a series of exercises, and they're in this book I wrote too, because it's really effective. But then we go through, set their goals, set their vision first, and then I say, you listen for your goals, right? As you have this vision, inspiration is going to hit you, and it's your job to perform that inspiration. And when I talk about business models, I usually use big 3 things. I say, one, that the service is billed monthly, so you're not hunting all the time. So you hunt once, and the money keeps coming in as you provide the service. 2, that it's delegatable. You don't want to get into brain surgery because you can't delegate brain surgery.
Right.
And number 3 is going to be that it's a virtual infrastructure. If possible, have a business where you can be virtual and you could live wherever you want. So you really have time and space freedom, right? And then from there, how to create, to use their inspirations to create that kind of business. And we're getting back to a little bit what we were talking about before about people with the best interest in mind. This information's been around for eons, right? Since the beginning of time, right? People have known this, right? And the reason it's not taught in school, and this is like a George Carlin thing, is because the people that are truly in charge don't want it, to have it, so you can work for their corporations, right?
Sure.
And look at the stores that were open during the pandemic. And this is just an objective thing of why to take control of your mind and not to pay attention to any of this stuff, and like for me, like I heard Robert Kiyosaki say it once. He goes, what really pisses me off? And I'm like, sorry to use that language, but I'm like, and I was at a presentation, and he's like, when a guy, like a family, like a man and woman, is on Sunday watching football when they should be out speculating real estate and making deals happen, and they're suffering, and they don't have the things they want. And he goes, it really upsets me when they're wasting time watching other people live their dreams when they're home on their butt watching other people live their dreams and not trying to go out and live theirs.
Oh my God. Years ago, someone said to me, why are you watching the Discovery Channel? Go out and be the Discovery Channel. And that always resonated with me along the same lines as what you're saying. Instead of just hanging out and watching other people on TV, and shut off the TV, shut off the games, go out and become the you're supposed to be. There's only one of us. No one else will be created like us. There's only one of us, and we have an obligation to make the impact we're supposed to make while we're here. So I think it's real important that we remember that. You are listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne. We have our friend here, Thomas Roman, and we are going to come back in just a few moments to continue our conversation. Stay with us. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lori Anne Casdia. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas on more you'd like to hear about on Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne, just email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. And of course, follow us on social media at Healthy Lifestyle with LA. We are always here. We love to hear from you all, and love to implement things that you want to hear about and talk about. Please feel free on our Facebook Live to throw questions in. We love to engage in that as well. So today we're talking to Thomas Roman. We're having this really in-depth conversation of growing bigger and really thinking bigger and really following our dreams as a mentor, advisor. I have clients all the time that I speak to just about the same thing that Thomas and I are talking about, and helping you jump those hurdles and helping you just find this vision and this happiness and joy that Thomas and I enjoy every day, because we have really, really done the work. And that's the important thing. Thomas, don't you think it's important to do the work?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Definitely 100%.
And how do you define what it is, you want to do and have? I mean, I know, but let's talk about that for our listeners. Is how does someone start out and do that definition? I know that when working with my clients, I really walk them through a lot of different exercises and to really find out and discover what their passion is. I do the passion test, and I walk them through the passion test, and it helps them discover really what they're really passionate about, and then we put things into place so that they can attain it. How do you go about it?
Well, I think what I love is the Bruce Lee quote. It talked about how water can conform to any substance. If it pours in a teacup, it becomes a teacup. If it pours in a bottle, it becomes a bottle. And, if it pours in a kettle, it becomes a kettle, right? And it says, be water, he says, right? And the idea, like, I think of your vision as your mold, as your mental mold, right? And what you're doing when you think, and if you think of yourself, like I have a home gym in my basement, and I bought like all kinds of cool posters, right? I have like, Mike Tyson, I have, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I have Sylvester Stallone, I have like Michael Jordan, and, like my wife has a bunch of her, idols up there too. So we filled it with these cool posters, right? But when there's one about like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's sitting there, he's all jacked, and like his, like, when he was bodybuilding, and it's like, basically, a good physique is, requires constant hard work, requires, can't be inherited, bought, or stolen, and basically you have to work for it every day. Right?
Yes.
And the idea of just the physical part. So what I do for these goal setting, not to say vision creation workshops is what they really are, and then the goal setting comes kind of with inspiration, is you create the mold. So the idea, you look at your different aspects, the facets of your life. You have your, personal goals. You have your, your physical fitness goals, like what you want to look like in that mold. Like think of yourself, if you're a man, think of yourself as Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you're a woman, you find who your mentor is and how you want to look. And then you think of yourself looking like that, and in mind, and then what happens is you do start looking like that. It's amazing, but and you will do the things necessary, the work necessary in order to be that.
There you go. That's what I was looking for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, I think when it comes to like the law of attraction, like what's attracted to you, right? And one part is really like a mystery. Like you think, are physical things attracted to you? Maybe, right? Maybe they are. I don't know that, but I know for certain that if you look how the universe works, if you're in the shower And then founder of Atari said it once. He said, everyone has a great idea in the shower, but you have to get out and do something about it. But the idea in the shower, in closed four walls, ideas are popping into your head. There's no dimension that's at work there. So your mind is on a frequency, or it's a magnet, however you want to perceive it. And at what you think about, you're going to receive the solutions on how to bring that thing to reality, right?
Right, absolutely.
And when I say think bigger, right, it's funny. I think, like, I call, and being in the vibration, I have this thing I call Learjet mode, right? The feeling of when you go to your own jet at the airport, right? And you're in the nicest outfit you have, you're the best haircut you have, for a guy, you're clean shaven, you have your sunglasses on, you have a nice bag in the trunk filled with weekend getaway, right? And you're on the way to the airport. How do you feel? Right. And then secondly, like when you're on vacation, how do you feel? Right. It's the best feeling in the world, right? When you're like doing what you want to be doing.
Absolutely.
That's the mode like you have to get into, and to be on that vibration. Like when you're at your table, set your table and eat in a way with the best etiquette you can. You don't sit around and watch TV with a TV dinner. Like sit down with your family, have a nice dinner, right? And it's funny what you said about board games before too. My wife and I, we bought we have a little baby daughter. She's 1. We bought $150 worth of board games. Bought like Jenga, Monopoly,
Chutes and Ladder, I hope.
Yeah, we didn't. Not yet. We should get that.
Oh my gosh, Chutes and Ladder, iconic.
I'm going to take a note on that one. But no, you're right. But the thing is, Scrabble, and
sure.
A few other ones. But the idea is that it's like these little investments that you can do like now to live the way you want to live, right? And I think, but the point I'm getting at, it's like with this Learjet mode and this other boat that I love. It's called Luminosity, right? And you can look at Luminosity. It's a big, it's like a big boat. And I look at it, and there's this video online, and I call it Luminosity mode. And before I go to bed, I watch this little video. My wife and I are also religious; we pray and stuff. But I also think about luminosity, and I think about that life. And all I do, no joke, every second of the day, I have new ideas that I'm putting in my voice recorder, And there's this great book. It's called Earthing, right? It's about the electromagnetic field of the Earth, and we got these things called earthing sheets in our bed. And I don't know, it's really crazy, but I need 6 hours of sleep, and I'm ready. So the baby goes to bed at 5 or 6, and then we go to bed at 7, 8, 9 in that range, and then I'm up at 3 in the morning because I'm so eager to get to work on my goals. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm up before anyone's up. The baby gets up 7, and I'm 4 hours into my workday. By noon, I'm we're already working 8 hours. But you said about work, but it's when you're in that mode and inspiration's coming through your mind, and then the education part of it, and this is another thing, I've asked this thousands of times in my presentations. I said, how many people here have ever set formal goals in school, had a course called goal setting, right? And no one raises their hand. I said, how many people here have a set of written goals on paper that they want to accomplish, which is really kind of your vision, right? 2 people out of 100, 200 raise their hand, right? And the reason why, and this is the thing I really want people to know this, this is the most important thing, and sticking a stake in the ground for yourself, your family, and your wealth that you're going to experience in your life, a personal accountability thing, and there's really no excuse not to do this, right? And that stake in the ground you're setting is, I know that I was never taught how to set goals in my life, because the people who run the schools, who are implementing the syllabuses, they don't want that. They want me to continue to work for their corporations, to work for the government, to keep the systems at B going, but not to be a powerhouse, an individual powerhouse who can go out into the world and to live the way I want to live, the best way we prosper, the best way we help the world prosper is to prosper ourselves, to be a beacon of light, to show people, hey man, through my leadership, I'm going to show you how also you can create and live your vision too.
Can you imagine how this world would be if we were all doing what we're supposed to be doing, if we all were empowered and growing our individual visions, how amazing, and the things we would be able to discover? It would be totally amazing. But the people who do, take these steps and leaps, they're the ones who are the ones making the money and being successful, not the ones who are trying to hold us down and make us small. The people who are holding us down and making us small, they may be considered selfish because they are not looking out for our best interest. And I just think that we don't educate. I don't think it's any educator's fault. I don't think they even realize what's happening. Both of my parents were teachers. But I think what it is you're taught to teach a certain way, and then they have all these rules and requirements and all these other things, and we forget basics. I mean, they don't even teach us basic finances when we go through school. We have to learn it on our own. So these are all the tools that you develop through the years. And I found in my career or careers, I should say, is that as I went from career to career or job to job, all the tools I learned prior to that helped me right then and there in that career that I had, that job that I had right then and there. And it's just amazing how that accumulation of all these tools helped me in what I do right now and being exposed. And it was absolutely the path I was supposed to walk. Sometimes I walk the path a little bit out of the path. I went off of the path, and no worries, universe and source pushes you back on the path. And sometimes it's not enjoyable, but you always end up at the destination you're supposed to be at. And that's the exciting part. And if we start really seeing it that way and not taking time, and instead of watching shows on TV or something like that, maybe pick up a book, learn something new. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah, and also like take courses. Like there's so many like, and exactly what you said before is true. Like it's not an individual educator's fault. It's the reality of what you're taught, the syllabus that you're given, and it's just not a part of the modus operandi of the educational environment. And even into college, it's just not a part of it. Like, and this is like thousands of presentations, but the key is that people do take control of it now. And like you said, when you have those inspirations many times require knowledge and skills are the key, right? To know how to do something.
Absolutely.
And when you have an idea, and then this is a huge part of it is you do it first a couple times yourself. Like I developed hundreds and hundreds of websites. Now we have a development team that does all the websites, right? I've written a lot of copy. Now we have a development team, et cetera, right? But the idea, every time you do something, do it a couple times yourself, you perfect it. Then you write a system and you delegate it and you train people on how to do it. Video delegation. So people aren't productive in 30 days or 3 months. They're productive in 1 or 2 days. They're doing the things you need them to do. And then from there, in your organization too, you promote that people also have a big vision, that they themselves grow. And if they grow out of your business, or they start their own business doing their service, and then you hire their company to run the services, that part of your company. Right?
Exactly. But you're not fearful of people, outshining you. You elevate other people. And that's the important thing, is that when we're looking at our lives, are we elevating the people around us? That's the important thing. That's what makes a good leader. That's what makes a visionary. That's what makes a successful business. And I'm seeing a lot of people jump out of that corporate US, and I see a lot of our millennials, anybody born after 84. I'm seeing a lot of them have a different mindset, and it's unnerving to the institutional type people because they don't understand that mindset. And I love it. I'm like, yes, pursue your dreams. Anything's possible. Yep. Just keep going. We need to think bigger like that, because there is plenty for all of us. Even if I wanted to mentor and serve every client out there, I can't. I don't have enough time. Even if I build the biggest company to do it, I'm still not going to have enough people and enough time. We need a lot of us doing things like this, like yourself and myself. And it's important that no matter what the job is, that we need a lot of us. So there's never there's always abundance. And that's what I'm always seeing is abundance of opportunity, abundance of financial capability. We just have to go after it, visualize it, and move forward, right?
Yeah, and you're right. And also, here's the thing, like you said before, it would be great if everyone in the world did this. Now, people I think it's important to have like a conception of what time is and how long, like how old stuff really is. Like the Earth, it's like billions of years old, and just in the last 200 years, people were free in America to pursue their dreams, the pursuit of happiness, right? That was a part of our fundamental constitution. Before that, it was the Dark Ages because there was a monarch, and if you didn't do what the monarch said, they could, King Henry VIII style, just take you out, right? And I think that people, this is part of what I really believe, that people are still mad about that, right? This is why. But you do not have the same opportunity in other places in the world. I have friends from Spain, there's a monarch, England, there's a monarch, right? And the thing is that these people can't stand is when people ascend past what they did, that they took because they were entitled, right? They were given what they had, right? They can't stand it, and it really upsets them, right? And the idea that people don't realize that the same people that are pushing forward these ideas about frankly, like the NFL and stuff, it's hilarious. Like they were given an opportunity, they're kneeling in front of the flag that millions of people died for, right? And it's so it makes you want to cry thinking about it, right? Because
absolutely,
we live in a place that took all of history to get to, and the evolution of human beings from whatever we came from till now, this is what it took. And the idea right now we're at a juncture where we have the freedom. We have it.
Yeah.
We have it. And now we have to just go out there and pursue it, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, and people sit there and instead of...
And people try to take it away from us every day.
Yeah. Well, you're right. And the thing is that you can't listen to that. You have to sit there and say, hey, what does this person or what is this influence? Do they have my best interest in mind? If I do what they say, am I going to be better off or worse than I was before?
Yes.
If I'm dependent on the government or I'm dependent on my family, or I'm dependent on whoever it is, am I going to be better off than being a self-reliant person like Ralph Waldo Emerson said? And of course, and that's what it took. It took America to win the revolution. It took the hundreds of years to develop, and now we're at a point where any idea we have can be instantly copied and communicated globally in an instant. And the people don't even understand the opportunity of the internet. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we got shown the opportunity of the internet in this whole pandemic. We got shown that opportunity, and people who are enlightened and people who are light leaders and visual. Our visionaries, they're the ones who are we're taking advantage of this opportunity. It is an opportunity. It is not something that we have to be pounding our chests on. We have evolved. If you look at history and look at now, we used to think it was okay to put people in the middle of lions in the middle of a coliseum. We don't think that anymore. So we don't do that anymore, and so forth and so on. And we just move forward as a human, as a society, to say what's good and what's bad. But until we stop looking at each other with all these differences, until we stop looking for differences and make it look bad, until we stop thinking that, when did capitalism become a dirty word? That's just amazing to me. Capitalism is what America was built on. And until we call ourselves Americans united, until we look at it as good people and bad people, and that's the only exception, and then enjoy each other's individualities. There's only one of us, as I said before. We're supposed to be individuals. We're supposed to have differences. I embrace people with differences because I learn from them. Their differences teach me new things. I love that. I know that you embrace that as well, right?
Of course, yeah. And you nailed it on the head. And the idea, of course, but the idea is I think personally you have to look at, everyone has to do an objective assessment of the influences in their life and the media and the stimuli that they're taking in and the relationships they have. There's a saying called crabs in the bucket, right? When people
I do that all the time. We talk about this on the show.
Yeah, as you ascend, people are trying to pull you down, and for me, it's funny, during my experiences on this planet, right? It's short experiences so far, but the idea is I learned something called emotional health. It's not about loyalty. It's not how long you knew somebody. It's surrounding yourself with emotionally healthy people, right? The people that are not emotionally healthy, you get them out of your life at all costs. It doesn't matter if there's no veil. It doesn't matter if they're a family member, a lifelong friend, or a religious leader or a political leader. If someone does something to you that is one of those, any type of comment, name calling, abuse, any type of anything, boundary broken, you get them out, because those people eventually could do worse, and you could end up in bad situations. And the idea, or just not pursue your goals. If every time you're talking to someone, they put you down and they make fun of you and they laugh at you, those people are not good to be around. And
no, nor should you have people like that. If anything, when they're good people around you because they're lifting you up, they're supporting you, and they're cheering you on. That's what you should hear from the people in your life who are supposed to be there and who are good for your emotional health.
Well, exactly. And the idea, the people don't understand the best we could do for people like that too, because it's an emotional development journey. And I believe Wallace Waddell is one of my favorite authors. He said that there's no evil in the world. It's a matter of development. So people that are less developed do seemingly evil things because they don't know any better, right? Because they didn't develop, right? The best we can do to help people develop emotionally is to go no contact at the first instance that they do something that's a boundary broken, a name called, or some type of abuse, any type of abuse, right? There's a lot of them, and I don't really want to get into that. But the idea is that at the first instance of any of that stuff, you let them go, cut them out. And if they're cut out long enough and they're alone and they're freezing and they're cold and there's no power in their house because they told off the lady on the phone or the guy on the phone, whoever's doing the phone call stuff, they're literally desolate. And they're like, holy crap, I have to develop now. And if we allow people to continue to be in our life, we don't get them to that point where they're forced to develop and to say this is what's okay and how to healthily relate to other human beings.
Agreed, because it's not okay to not be a good human being. That's not okay. In the last few minutes, if you have anything that you want to tell our listeners, what would that be?
Yeah, I would say first, thank you for your time and spending the valuable time with me and Lori here on the show. Secondly, I encourage you to get really clear on the vision you want, to write down your personal, your physical, your financial, your experiential, like all the things that you want to do in your life. And I encourage you to be clear on that vision, to have pictures all over your house, to do whatever tools necessary, motivational YouTube videos, whatever you have to do to make your own videos, to only think about that vision as true now, to put yourself in the shoes of that person in that vision and think about the vision you'll have at that point, right? But to really get big on this and to only put stimuli in your mind that will take you towards that vision, and then as you have inspiration, to execute on that inspiration, to learn the skills, do whatever you have to do in order to make that inspiration happen. And sometimes if you think big enough, you're going to get ideas that take months or years to get done. They're going to take so much time. You're going to sit there every day, put your head down and work all day into the day, and then all of a sudden you're going to sit there and meet a huge, massive goal, and a life is going to open up to you that you never imagined.
Yep.
And another thing I would say is we live at the greatest time in history, the golden age, where everything we have and can possibly imagine is at our fingertips, and to be in gratitude for it and to take the existing system, to thank the service people in your life, whoever they are, whether they be military people or police officers, firemen, thank your teachers, professors, and just be in a constant state of gratitude for all that you have. And from there, go out in the world and do what you're supposed to do in this world. To do it, and don't let anyone ever hold you back. And not even that, just think about the life you want and go live it. Because we're at the time in history where this is like the first time in history that all this stuff could happen. And if anyone has anything on the opposite of that kind of to say, and they feel like they're pulling you away and you feel like they're discouraging you, get them out of your life immediately and spend time with only the healthy people. And if you don't have any healthy people, go to Starbucks, go to different events, meet healthy people.
Cheer, cheer. Hear, hear. I totally agree. Thank you so much, Thomas, for being on Healthy Lifestyle. Really appreciate you all joining us today. My heart is always lifted by sharing this time with you. I want to thank Thomas for being on. I always want to thank Michael, our producers here, for being here. And as I always say, remember to do a little something for yourself. You just have to start and do it there. It takes 21 days to build a habit, 90 days to build a lifestyle. Start with one new habit a week and turn off the stimuli that isn't positive. Listen to what we were talking about today. Thank you again for joining us on Healthy Lifestyle. I'm Lori Anne Casdia. Until next time, play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big.